Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at quite a beefy watch, the Alpha Sierra Intruder range, and this in particular is the A-6B to be precise. It'll cost you £200 or €229, and as you can see it is pretty huge, and that's the main thing going for it. I have noticed that recently massive watches, like 48mm plus, have been on the decline actually, so if you are missing one or want to get one from a relatively new brand, then this Alpha Sierra Intruder might be for you. So as I mentioned before, £200, €229. Let's discuss the specs. Size wise, certainly is big. 50mm in diameter, that's just the case, not including the pushers and the crown. Pretty meaty height as well, 13.5mm, and then a lug to lug length of 58mm as well. So I've got a 7.25 inch wrist for your reference, and I think this is pretty huge for me. Excuse me. I wouldn't necessarily wear a watch this big, so I would probably say if you have, it would probably be safe on someone with a 7.5 inch upwards. But saying that, many people still like to wear massive watches on smaller wrists. That's just my preference. So weight wise, 135 grams, so that is a real chunky beast, especially considering we've got a rubber strap. For it to still weigh that much, it goes to show the weight from the watch head itself. But then again, it is pretty huge, so it is going to be pretty weighty. Water resistance is 10 atmospheres or 100 meters, so you do have a measure of water resistance there. Not crazy amount, so you probably could go swimming with it, but that's about as much as you'd be able to do, so I wouldn't recommend any more than that. The movement, as you can see, is a chronograph movement, so it's a quartz movement, and it's made by TMI, who are part of the Seiko group, and the model is the VD51. Not one that I particularly have come across very often at all, but there's nothing really too exciting to mention about it, apart from the fact that you press top button to go, and as you can see, our top subdial is our chronograph seconds hand, and our bottom subdial is the chronograph minutes hand. Minutes hand, and then our main big seconds hand is the running seconds hand for the time. Lug width is 44mm, so we've got a pretty big chunky strap to go with our big fat case, as you would expect, and we have a 2-year warranty, so that's pretty good. If anything should go wrong, then you are covered for 2 years. So let's have a look at it in closer detail then. Starting off with the dial, so it's the Intruder range, so I think the main thing that gives it its name are probably the unusual subdial hands. They sort of remind me of the aliens from Space Invaders, that really old game, and I think that's probably what the idea is, so well done to them for making me think of that, and obviously many other people will be thinking the same. The other applied elements, the applied hour markers are on a little bit of the thin side as well, and the hands, they have a black fill to them, so legibility can be a little bit difficult at times. Apart from the fact that it's so big, it's pretty difficult to miss it. But it's not filled with lume, so in the night time, all you've got are basically not even 12, but 10 weak lumed blocks. So you can't really tell the time in the dark at all, because the hands don't have any lume on them. We have a date window at 3. I like the way it has the previous and the next date as well. Obviously not for any purpose other than visually, it just takes up a little bit more of the space, whereas if it was just the single date in the middle, it might have looked a little bit lost. So they've done a good wise choice there in spreading out the date window. If I just change the time, we can have a look at our logo. So we have Alpha Sierra printed, and then a very thinly applied logo as well. I always like to see a bit thicker logo, yeah, it's a little bit on the thin side for me. So these subdial hands are flat, polished as well, so they do reflect the light if I get it in, if I try and find some light, so you can see there we get a bit of a reflection on it. So the quality of the dial, I mean, it looks good. I think it's well designed. It's just things could have been a little bit finished to better, to like a higher quality. I think a little bit thicker here and there, better finishing as well. So moving on to the case, so we have a very rugged kind of appearance to this case, almost pre-worn, if you will. So it has a DLC coating, but then sort of like the edges are all pre-rubbed down, which is a cool touch. I do like the way it looks. And we have Alpha Sierra engraved on the side as well. This side we have our pushers. So there we go. And then we have our push-pull crown. Again, very light embossing of the logo there. That for me, if I can even get a decent shot of it, is a bit too light for my liking. I mean, it's hardly worth it when it's that light. Moving on to the case back, an unusual choice to have a fully polished case back. I mean, you can sort of see it when you're wearing the watch as well. If you've got it on the wrist and you look like that, you can see the polished steel. So it does look a little bit out of place. It's screwed in, and these details are quite lightly laser etched as well. So yeah, another little thing that I would have liked to have seen done a little bit better. The strap is really nice, really comfortable. Got a good rubber consistency, very soft and supple to begin with. Sometimes they can be really stiff, but this wraps around the wrist really nicely. Obviously it's helped by the natural curve of the strap, but has these cool, nice little channels down the centre as well. Nice little angular bit at the end as well. So yeah, an interesting looking strap, and really comfortable to wear as well. And if we have a look at our buckle, DLC coated to match the case with Alpha Sierra engraved on the end as well. Okay, so let's have a look at it in closer detail. If I whack the macro lens on. So starting with the dial, let's have a look at this. If I just move along a little bit, just to get out of the sun. So there you can see our sub running second hand moving away. A little bit of dirt on there. This is our minute second hand. This is our date window as well, with a polished edge around it, and our applied elements. Move over here, we have our logo. We have this rehout as well. There we go. So our hands, as you can see, we have just a black filled. I think it would have made a lot more sense if they were lume filled, but they do look kind of cool with the black fill, I will be honest. Moving on to the case then, here we are. This sort of really rugged kind of appearance. You can see it's all mottled to emphasise that. On the side we have Alpha Sierra engraved as well. And if we look over here, we have one of our pushers. And our crown as well. Quite lightly embossed logo on the end. I would have really liked to have seen that be a bit thicker. Moving on to the case back, if I just give it a quick rub-a-dub-dub. So we have our laser etching there. Logo and a few details, if I can get a decent shot of it. There we go. Moving on to the rubber strap then. because it's rubber, it does tend to pick up the fluff quite a bit, but that's the same with any rubber strap, so nothing critical there at all. And this is our sort of central channel, molded well to the case, as you can see. No gaps, really nice and snug fit. Then if we just send it over this way, we've got our buckle with Alpha Sierra engraved on the brushed buckle. Okay, so I mean, this watch isn't, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. This watch isn't the final production model, it is pre-production. So hopefully a few of these little things will be rectified. But with this watch in particular, just a few little things that I just think need tweaking before, to make it seem a little bit better quality, such as the embossing on the crown, the case back as well. I could really do with not being polished steel, and some better engraving there, and just the application of the logo and the various elements as well. Just could be doing with tweaking a little bit, maybe a little bit better quality, to give it a better appearance. Obviously, it is still an impressive looking watch because of the size, mainly. 50mm in diameter is massive, and you don't see watches that huge nowadays, which some people may view it as a good thing, some people may view it as a bad thing. It is completely down to a personal preference, isn't it? Personally, I wouldn't wear it, and £200 as it stands is probably a little bit on the high side for the quality of the watch. Let's hope moving forward it definitely will be made to a better standard. But the design is good. They've got a really good basis here, and just with a few little tweaks, I think potentially they have a really cool watch. So that was the Alpha Sierra Intruder A-6B, and that's what it's all about.